I'm not saying it's easy, but it's more difficult to deal with the toxins on the inside than it is to let things go. It's not always easy to forgive, but it's harder to deal with the poison of unforgiveness. It's not easy to move forward after a disappointment, but it's harder to stay stuck in defeat and mediocrity. Coach Rudy Tomjanovich was the Hall of Fame coach of the Houston Rockets and also a great professional basketball player himself. When he was 25 years old, in the middle of a game, a fight broke out between two players. Rudy ran over to break them up. One of the players turned and threw a punch without looking as hard as he could. Just so happened, Rudy was running up full speed. The punch hit him square in the face. It became known as the punch heard around the world. Fractured his skull, broke his nose and cheekbones. He had spinal fluid leaking out, almost took his life. Months later, while he was recovering, he was asked about the man that hit him and what he thought. Everyone was waiting his response. Surely he'd be angry, bitter. This is not right. Rudy didn't miss a beat. He told how he had already forgiven him, that he wasn't angry or upset. The reporters were puzzled. They said, this man almost ended your life. He put you through all this pain. How could you possibly forgive him? Rudy said, I knew the only way I could move forward was to let it go. I didn't forgive just for his sake. I did it so that I could be free. Maybe you've had bad breaks. You weren't treated right, wasn't fair. I'm not asking you to do the other person a favor. I'm asking you to do yourself a favor. Forgive so you can be free. Forgive so you can reach your potential. Forgive so you can see the beauty for ashes. Don't bury the toxins. Don't bury what they did. Those negative feelings are alive. They can't be contained. You have to give it to God. Trust Him to make it up to you. You weren't created to live with poisons weighing you down, contaminating your vision. You will rise so much higher if you'll get free from that. David had another great disappointment. His newborn baby became very sick. He went home and prayed and fasted, asked God to heal his child. For 7 days he wouldn't eat. He didn't see anyone. He was consumed with this baby, believing that God would give him a miracle. Unfortunately, the baby died. His men were so concerned that when they told David that he might fall apart, they didn't know what to do. David overheard and asked what was wrong. And when he found out the baby died, he got up off the floor. The scripture says he went home, washed his face, dressed in new clothes, then he went to the table and ate a meal. His men were so surprised. They said, David, when the baby was alive, you were so distraught. But now that the baby is gone, you seem like you're fine. David said, I cannot bring the baby back, but one day I can go to be where he is. David could have been bitter. God, why didn't you answer my prayer? God, I've served you. I did the right thing when Saul was chasing me. I've tried to honor you, and now this happened? No, David knew to let it go. I don't understand it. It wasn't fair, but God, you're still on the throne. I know you still have good things in store for me. There's a lot in life we're not going to understand. You can't get caught up in the whys. Part of faith is trusting when it doesn't make sense. A year later, David's wife had another baby. They named him Solomon. He became the king after David, the heir to the throne, and the wisest man that ever lived. Had David stayed in despair, had he not washed his face, let go of the disappointment, he would have never seen the king that was coming. In difficult times, when you don't understand, you could be bitter. If you'll just let it go and keep trusting God, like David, you'll give birth to a king, something greater than what you've imagined, something where you don't think about what you've lost.